I have so much to tell you all today. I had to make notes. We're talking about money, we're talking about investments, we're talking about the new paint colors and the people who came to visit us at the house. We're talking about the plumber, the bathroom, the kitchen. We also talking about a lizard that was the size of a dog, and I got a new grease trap, and I got tiles. So we need the time, okay? So without further ado, I'm Kelly Johnley, and this is Bajan Renovation. Okay, so we're in the bathroom now. Now this is not a space that we spent a lot of time in, and for a few reasons. Well, the first reason why was that when we bought the house, it had a lizard, and the lizard was the size of a dog, and therefore it could not enter. Then when that dog lizard was removed, between the scaffolding and all the things that were in here, we were never really able to come in. But I'm going to walk you through some of what I guess you could say are the changes and explain why these design decisions were made. Now this doorway, it may seem like a narrow doorway, but it was narrower, had to be extended. It was literally probably from here to about here. Don't ask me why, that's how it was. So the last official piece of lick down we did was actually making this door frame bigger to a standard doorway. You can see that while we haven't been here, the plumber has been here. Now, unlike the electricity to the property, I knew that when I purchased the property that the house did not have any did not have an active electrical connection, but also I knew that the house would have to be rewired. The plumbing now, we ended up replacing the plumbing. Yes, I could have gotten some use out of the pipes that I had purchased that were in the house, but I was advised that, look, Kelly, these pipes have been dormant for a while. There's significant rust and decay in some areas. It is the original plumbing that came with the house. It is best to replace this now, because as you can imagine, to go in now and replace plumbing for a bathroom and a kitchen after my good tiles go down is a no-no. So the plumber has been here, and you can see he has been busy. Now when you look here, you can see obviously this is where the basin, the hand washing area, is going to be. I am going to have to find a very narrow sink. I will find one. And if you're wondering if design wise we could have reoriented the bathroom, because this is the original layout, yes, in hindsight we could, but to be honest, by the time we got in here to deal with these things, we were so far along with the licking down of this house that I was at the point where it was like, look, I cannot afford to be licking down anything else at this stage, so we are sticking with the footprint. So you can see the plumber has been here, and you can also see he has been in what is the shower. Now I went to our good up friends at Platinum Imports last week as a part of my out-of-pocket activity. I was told to get the mixer for the shower, so I have it. It's here, it's not up yet, but I did decide to go with a black finish wall mounted one. Now the reason I went for a wall mounted was actually based on the suggestion of their showroom assistant. She said the benefit of taking the wall mounted unit is that if you ever have to make any changes or do any repairs, you don't have to crack the wall to get to the full system. And I was like, well, check, because you know we ain't cracking nothing else in here. Not after I put my brand name tiles on the shower wall. And what she said was a good reminder, because one of the rental units in Coverly, I had to make a change to the mixer, and in just having to change the mixer in the shower, I ended up having to retile the entire bathroom area because I couldn't find back. Of course, we don't store tiles like that. I could not find back a tile that was close enough to the one that was originally in the bathroom. And then when you top it off, what was happening with all the drilling and stuff that they did, some of the other tiles started to pop. So just something to consider. Obviously it comes down to personal preference, but from what she said, you won't have to dig up the wall to take out anything. That was mine. Now when I shared the picture picture of the mixer. A few of you all jumped in the DMs quickly, and I thank you for the foresight that you had. You said, Kelly, black is not the best finish for us because of the lime, and you will get discoloration, you know, and it's difficult to maintain. While I did not know that at the time, I am very happy to share that I actually have a water system coming for the house from Newport Water. I'm going to take you with me for that field trip a little later, but it treats to all of the water that is coming through the system, and including what is going to be coming through the shower. So I am very confident, based on what they have told me about the product and service that I'm investing in, that I don't have to worry about my pipes, my washing machine, but I will save all of those details for when we go down to Newport together to collect the system, because I think you might be interested. It's actually, I think, a pretty good investment. So if nothing else, our mixer is safe. So when I went to Platinum, of course I looked at everything, even though I only bought the mixer, because in my mind, I know I had said that there are things I'm buying out of pocket, but the truth of the matter is, when I went and bought that mixer, I literally took my last to buy it. So I know they have the complementary pieces, I know they have the faucets, the basins, the toilets, etc., and all those little finishing touches like the towel bars, etc. But we are officially at that part of the project where I am buying things on an as-needs basis. I ain't buying nothing unless I feel it gonna run out, or they tell me it's gonna run out to put down, because I need to manage the money in such a way that the week-to-week expenses can be met. I ain't trying to store things in here unnecessarily. So we are now getting sent to the shop daily. Okay, so I didn't just look for things for the bathroom, I also looked at things for the kitchen. And I went to a few people looking for what we will need for the kitchen plumbing wise. Those items are not here yet, but as you can see, the plumber has been in the kitchen, so you can see where the sink is going to go. You will also see in the backyard that we have a new grease trap. Very exciting, but we have a new grease trap. So I remember coming around here and seeing going up in the yard, and I was like, why are we digging a hole in the ground? But they reminded me, ma'am, you want to use this grease trap or you want a new one? And you know what? Proceed. At this stage, we are now officially building over this house. Oh, and I didn't mention it, but we also had to put a bathroom window in. So another one of the minor changes that took place that is adding up to the very big changes for this house. So while we were away from the house and you were enjoying our container show with Sharita Odell, I know y'all really like that one, I was actually here meeting the team from Berger. So you remember a while back that I did go to the Berger Color Studio just to get a sense of what their services are, learn more about their products, and of course begin that wrestle in my head of what color we're going to paint this house. Well, I remember sharing with you that they do offer a free service whereby they come to the house and they will measure. So Ronnie came back as promised and measured for all of the materials needed. All you have to do, it is not a Kelly service. All you have to do, if you wish a similar service, is call, make an appointment, they will come and measure up. But more importantly, and this is something that we learned during their first visit, they don't just measure to tell you how much paint you need. They tell you what kinds of paint you need and what kind of treatments you'll need for these surfaces. And if you're anything like me, whenever you think of paint, you only think of color. You know, what color we paint in it. But an excellent point that they made that I just want to reiterate is that when you're doing a renovation, you are going to have several wall surfaces going on in your property. You're going to have the new construction. You're going to have the space where new construction meets the old wall. You may have points where you have cracks. You may have points where you have rust. You may also have areas when you have water damage. So in order for you to get that smooth finish, that even finish that we all want and deserve, you have to prep the wall to suit the surface that you have. So they were actually able, because they came here for the free service that you could get to, and said, okay, this is what we need to do to get this wall ready for painting. They also, not just in terms of color, but also in terms of the finish of the paint. The finish I really wanted for the interior of the house was a very smooth finish. It was suggested, Kelly, if you're paying attention to budget, go with a corrosive finish because it can cover imperfections. For you to get the smooth finish that you want, you know, that nice silky finish that you see in some people's houses, well, that costs silky finish money. Apparently, I would have to go in and sand the walls and buff them down, and you know who ain't doing that. So I was able to select, when they brought their materials, a coarse finish. So that is what we're getting. We're getting all, of course, we've already ordered the materials, so they will come as soon as you guys here need them. We will be having a coarse finish, and yes, we are going with the stark white for the interior. But as promised, there will be some color in this house. Now, while I'm home, I want my house to feel quiet. As far as I'm concerned, when you come in here, you is to whisper when you speaking to me, okay? I don't want no noise in my house. I don't want no pop of nothing. I don't want anything standing out. This house, you will see, I will incorporate what you call visual interest with different finishes and different textures, but I want a house that feels calm. My outside life is busy enough. I ain't coming in here for nothing to startle me. So without further ado, here are our colors. We are going for a very light, almost minty green for the exterior wall. For our front door or double doors, they will be plum in color. And the trim of the house and the window frames are going to be in a deep gray. So if you're wondering, how did Miss Stark White get to all of these colors? Well, two things. I do love the vibrancy of Caribbean colors. I just don't want to sleep and wake up in it. But also, a few years ago, I had the opportunity to go to the New Orleans. And while I know obviously our architectural history is different, one thing that I absolutely loved was their architecture, and I saw a lot of similarities between their homes in some of the areas and ours. And what I really admired was how they used color. If you think we love color on a house, them love color on a house. But these people are what I call master color blockers, right? They use color with confidence and in very unexpected ways. So after you all bemoan and tell me about how y'all ain't happy with this white, I said we'll reach a compromise. Let me go and take a look on Pinterest, big up Pinterest, to see where I can see some inspired color combinations. And of course the team at Berger was like, Kelly, you want to white for the whole house? And they had their ideas. So that is how we came with our mashup of a unique color palette, something that still felt true to me, but it also felt special. All right, so now let's talk about the money. We knew this day would come. And even though this day was inevitable, it was no less painful when it came. The money from the bank is officially over. It is finished. If you look in the account where the money was deposited, that final disbursement of $40,000, you will see $0 and 0 cents. So where did this money go? I gave the contractor $8,000. Now, I remember saying to you when my chest was high, about some things that I was doing out of pocket. I would have bought the doors, I would have bought the tiles, and some other things, but those would have been the bigger bills. I bought some of the primer that you see on the walls, some of the plumbing materials, some of the wood that was used throughout the property. I would have been buying those out of pocket. Yeah, apparently my pocket ain't as deep as I thought it was. So I had to actually take back some of that money because I was actually moving it out of my business account. So of the remaining 8, I had to take back about, let's say maybe 5, because it was causing me to be unable to meet my other obligations. So that leaves us with 3. To be honest, that was spent on miscellaneous stuff. The property needed to be insured again. A year has passed since the property closed last year. That insurance on this is like $2,400. So that is where it went. Now, where does this leave me personally financially? I could tell you, you know how people talk about January is a long month? April for me was the longest month financially. Work-wise, I was working on a few projects that were not billable in March or April. So we work in production. I would have shared that a few times, and some of the work we do, it takes longer for it to close out. I don't invoice people until the work is done. So it really felt like I was working for like 6 weeks without a cent. And I could tell you up to, we're filming this now on a Wednesday morning, up to yesterday I had $90 in my bank account, and it was the same $90 I had for the last 4 days. In April, everybody called me Signia called me about the car payment I did not make. Scotia called me about a loan payment I did not make. Somebody, Sagicor called me about some insurance thing that I did not pay. Like, that was not nice. The great thing is that soon thereafter, as I had anticipated, because the projects had closed out and an invoice, clients paid promptly. So everything is up to date now, and I do have a little cash which I can set aside for the house again. And obviously, as I continue to work, we set aside. I do have a big project that will close out in June, so that will also give us another injection. And as a backup, I do have 2 credit cards that will be put to work. And yes, I know some people are very credit averse. At this stage, I cannot afford to be picky for where this money comes from. So I will use what I have in hand, which I've set aside. Now I probably have about $5,000 in what I call my little house reserve. I have access to 2 credit card facilities, and we're taking this one day at a time. Someone asked if I feel overwhelmed by the project. I don't feel overwhelmed by the project. Let's just say I feel overwhelmed by work generally sometimes, and not the kind of overwhelm where I'm going to sit down in a corner and cry. But the bills for the business are what I call big bills. You know, they're no $400 bills. Everything is a couple $1,000s. So as the money comes in, it comes in wads and it goes out in wads. And right now, that's just what it is. I console myself in those moments where I feel like, oh my gosh, when will this end? Is that I very much love the home that we are building together, and I tell myself, Kelly, your mortgage is only $1,200. So once you ride this out, your mortgage for the house and the apartment is $1,200, which is manageable for me. So once I ride out what would probably be the next 2 months of spending, things will start to settle and all will be well in the world. But yeah, last month they roughed it all, and right now we're just doing what we need to do on an as-needs basis. Another thing that has allowed me to feel a little better is that, remember, I already have my furniture. Someone has been asking about, well, not someone, a few of you ask about design inspiration, where I'll be shopping, and I'm going to assume you're a little newer to our community. So last year, we would have had a lovely field trip. We went to Dwellings and Dwellings Design Studio. I am working with them to furnish the house. Now, this house package that I took from them is what I call a turnkey package. And a turnkey means that the items purchased will allow me to move into the house and it's ready to go. Almost think of like moving into a hotel. So that means your beds, your curtains, your cushions, your knives, forks, spoons, pot, pan, the sofa set, the dining table set, all of these items have already been secured. And I paid the 50% deposit for those last year. So my furniture is here. Some of the items were ordered from overseas, the curtain rods, everything, the bath towels, the little thing you put the toothbrush in, all of those have been purchased. Now, I know I'm going to be contradicting myself when I say this, because I've said to people, be careful not to go spending money in areas that aren't essential before you get the major parts of your house finished. I know it is massively tempting to go and be picking up throw cushions and to be buying toilets and light fixtures and stuff like that before you get the bigger parts of your house done. In my defense, I had no idea that I was putting myself in such a financial position when I tear off that roof and that side wall and all the other things that we are now doing. I didn't, and that was lack of due diligence on my part. Had I known that, would I have gone ahead and bought the furniture at the time? Maybe not, because right now we would have that money. But at the same time, who knew the cost of everything being imported was going to go up exponentially? Well, I'm glad my things are here and I'm happy with them, but that's just a part of it. So I comfort myself in my $1,200 mortgage, and I comfort myself that at least when we're finished with the construction, my pretty things will come and I'll be able to shut my door and lie down on my new white sofa. So another question that you guys ask, which is money related but not necessarily to do with the house, is do I have any other investments? I do. Yes, I do have an interest in property, and for as long as I can keep up with this, don't mind the state of finances we have now. When I catch my hand, don't be surprised if you see me in the streets looking for something else. But yes, I do have other investments, and I will share a little bit about what those are and why I have them. Please do not take this as financial advice, okay? This is what I have done. If there's something you can take from it, go. So I have what I guess some may consider a lot of insurance. Now, was a lot. My policy payments at the end of the month, every month of the year, is in the vicinity of $1,400. So let me tell you what that comprises. Now, when we go to purchase a house with a mortgage, you will most likely be familiar with property insurance as a part of your closing costs. You have to put property insurance in place. I'm not speaking about property insurance. Another type of insurance that you would likely have to put in place is term life insurance that covers the value of what was borrowed. Now, this is not property insurance. This is life insurance. For each property I have, I was required to get it. So that's 3 sets of life insurance. I was told by a friend who was dealing with a lender that I've never worked with for a mortgage. She said she never had to get it. I've always had to get. So that's three life insurance policies that are assigned to the mortgage. I also have what would then, I guess, would be my personal life insurance. So these 3 are in the event that I pass away, that the estate would be relieved of the burden of paying the mortgage, right? So the bank is covering itself in the event that I pass away before the mortgage is paid off. Like, okay, if she dies, this policy is going to cover the balance of the mortgage and the property will be released to her estate. Property insurance protects the interest of the house in the event of a peril, like a disaster, a fire, a hurricane, somebody driving off the road and looking in your window. It is not a policy that pays out in the event of death. So I have 3 of those. Then I have life insurance. I have a daughter, so that means I wanted to put something in place that in the event that I die, she's fine. That's 4. Also, I have 2 or 3 annuities. Now, I am not sure what annuities are available in the market now, but I do know several years ago when Sagicor introduced their Sagicor 175 series, I took advantage of those. And what an annuity allows you to do, in my layman terms, is save at an aggressive rate by investing in a pool. It will have a defined payout at a period. So for example, I have a 15-year annuity and a 20-year annuity. So here's a little hack. When I did the 15-year annuity, what I asked the bank at the time, because at that time what I asked the bank at the time was, what would it take what would I need to pay you monthly in order to get a payout of $500,000 in 15 years? The reason why I chose that amount is at the time I figured, oh, I might have a mortgage and bills around that time when I'm 50 and I want to be able to clear off everything. So I know that in, I think it must be about 6 or 7 years, I will have that money coming down the line. Additionally, the other one I took out was really at the time just for my daughter's education. Will she need it? I don't know, but the point is that is coming. I also have a death benefit on parents. I would have told you all that I liquidated my pension, and I have liquidated pensions at least 3 times in my career. So I don't have a pension plan. I'm not proud of it, and I'm not suggesting you liquidate any pension that you have. But because I was taking the money from the pension because A, I was in a bind, and B, putting the money towards another revenue producing asset, aka a house, I personally felt comfortable taking up that money. Yes, you do pay withholding tax on it, but I was comfortable with the decision. So in terms of investments, yes, there are a few other things, but I would encourage anybody to not just see insurance or insurance vehicles as just an expense when the month comes. There are things that you can take advantage of through all the different insurance companies that will put you in a position to have a better financial future. The other little piece of that while I don't call it an investment, is that I have private health insurance. And I could tell you, right, for someone who fortunately has never been sick, I mean, COVID didn't even want me. I've never had sick leave for the 20 years that I was working. But what I did know that I had when I was working with a company was access to really good medical. Why? Because my colleagues took advantage of it. Well, let me tell you something. When you come to work for yourself and you are no longer on a group plan, all I have to say is the $180 that I used to pay to have major medical or all sorts of this and access to all sorts of things used to be $180 for my daughter and I. For me as an individual to go and get major medical and private medical insurance with all the bells and whistles that I have become accustomed to is close to $450. So that's where all of that is. I know it's not, I know you might see it as a sunk cost, but I am old enough to say that I have seen enough people have serious medical conditions that wipe them out. I do not think most of us can outsave a tragedy. So it's given me a little peace of mind that if I buck my toe, that there's some measure of recourse. So that's where some of my investments are, and part of why I was catching my behind last month. Well, I'm just here sitting on my floor because I got a floor that I could sit on. Don't mind it ain't grouted yet, but the point is I got a floor, and it was a day that we had no floor, so we give thanks. In the coming weeks, we're going to continue finishing up the house. We'd mentioned before that we're probably recording every other week at this stage, simply because we're busy with the business that is paying for the house. But I'm happy to take you all on the journey. So we gave you a look around, let you know what was happening behind the scenes, and the next time we're together, we will likely be on a field trip. Till then, I'm Kelly Johnley, and this is Bajan Renovation.